here we go. Reading notes for the last book on my summer 2023 reading list is the 5th of 5 new editions, 8th book overall out of 8 books. It's Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden, first published in 1997. This is the February 1999 Vintage Contemporaries edition paperback. These are Lucky Wallaby Courier reading notes. I took them as I read, and so we're going to go through my reading schedule, so what days I read, how many pages I read, and the notes I took. So that's the introduction. Up first, as part of this, I first bought and read this book when I was attending high school on campus, so 2006 to 2008. I was approximately 13 and 15 years old. All right, day 1 was Friday, 18 August 2023. Started the book and read through page 44, so 44 pages. My notes are, I first bought this book from a thrift store and read it approximately 2006 to 2008, approximately 13 to 15 years old. Read it as a freshman/sophomore in high school. Next note, I am 30 years of age at the beginning of this reading. Next note, pages 1 to 4. The author, Arthur Golden, starts off with a quip about autobiography. Either times have changed or he had a minority perspective at the time that is still a minority perspective, as autobiography is alive and well these days in forms such as photo albums, resumes, CVs, books, essays for school, and online profiles/websites like, LinkedIn and stuff. Okay, that was day 1. Day 2, Saturday, 19 August 2023, pages 45 through 81. It was 37 pages. Notes are, perhaps an analogy to a geisha in the Okiya in the United States of America is the girl at the top of the pyramid in cheerleading as the geisha and the cheer team as the staff of the Okiya. As someone who has lived in a sorority, it is not Greek row as an analogy. Okay. Next note, page 74, quote, dialogue quote. So quote, you are going to take this kimono up the stairs and give it to the maid there, end quote, Hatomomo said to me. Quote, or if Miss Perfect herself answers the door, you may give it to her. Don't say anything, just hand it over. We'll be down here watching you, quote. So that ends the dialogue part 2. So essentially, The Devil Wears Prada copycatted this book/story and these character roles and quirks. Yuck. Okay. Day 3. Monday, 21 August 2023, read pages 82 through 202, which are 121 pages. And these are my notes. How fortunate Chiyo is that she got to keep her real name while her sister Satsu was forced to change her name to Yukio. Or perhaps given the new circumstances of each person, it is better described as privilege than fortune. Geisha instead of prostitute is a privilege compared to the prostitute. Next note. Up until I was about 14 years old, Lindsay was the Chiyo. Lindsay, long legs, wore makeup, tall, skinny, with a thigh gap, eyes like her mother and pretty, even was accepted to/went to modeling school and had jiggly buns, so Lindsay's my sister. And I was the Satsu. Shorter, wore no makeup, and yes, that was pointed out numerous times by other women as making me undesirable. Fatter, with narrow hips and chubby legs and no thigh gap. Have not ever had an unhealthy low body mass index, BMI. And even at my smallest as a size 2, my hips were so narrow that I had no thigh gap. I was uglier and had a bubble butt. Compared to my sister. This is the comparisons made between the sisters. Chiyo is the main character. This was determined by schoolmates, friends, and family, though I am the younger sister, unlike Satsu, and Chiyo was the younger in the book. So that's kind of the only difference, right, in my sister pair. And am currently the taller sibling, so I'm taller than my sister, even though I'm younger. Okay, next note. The references in the section to a handkerchief smelling like talc is a reference to an ingredient of baby powder. I'm guessing the author chose the term talc instead to make it less obvious Chiyo liked the chairman. After all, a geisha is supposed to be mysterious. He definitely treats Chiyo with love if that is the case. Hope he treats his wife Trudy and kids Hayes and Tess, see page 431, with more love in real life, or this is called adultery. And fuck it, at that point, he and Chiyo probably had how much sex as they wrote this book? What a complete skis ball. Also called a cheater. Okay, next note, page 122. Geisha Hatomomo is 3 years older than Geisha Mameha. Page 1, next note, page 144. Geisha train in preparing a green tea made of matcha, unpopular to people from outside of Japan. Man, have times changed now. As of reading this book, Americans love geisha matcha tea so much. It has been a fad for over a decade now, or has been a fad for over a decade now. Next note, page 177. Chiyo gets a stage name of Sayori. The author/characters rhyme with Mayuri. Mayuri was the name of one of my sister's best friends growing up. Another similarity of Chiyo and my sister, Lindsay. Next note, pages 121 and 182. Author interrupts the story with after/during World War II. perspective legacy playouts. I'm guessing this is done to point out World War II has not happened yet in the story. Probably necessary, as the social network as key in social and business / financial pursuits has been copied since in the 2000s and 2010s in the United States of America, such as The Social Network, a movie, and Molly's Game, a movie and a book. Okay, in those people's lives. Next note, pages 189 to 190. The Japanese term ohana, English is flower, fee, or flower, is used 6 times in 2 paragraphs. That's a lot. Next note, page 200. Nobu has only 1 full arm, which is different than the movie, I think. Okay, up next, day 4, Monday, 28 August 2023, read pages 203 through 226, 24 pages. First note, page 214, Chio, new name Sayori, does not like the sight of blood, another similarity with my sister Lindsay, and I do not mind the sight of blood, so I'm different than the main character. Next note, page 225, Chio, Sayori, says, and, quote, ... and with a surge of anxiety, I, ... end quote, both my mom, Susan, and step-aunt Jan suffer from anxiety as well. I do not, but they do. And anxiety is kind of taking off as a fad, or something talked about kind of thing, or how people choose to frame their struggles. Okay, up next, day 5, Thursday, 29 August 2023, pages 227 through 270, is 44 pages. The note, first note, page 242, active geisha count in all of Gaion is given as 700 or 800. For context, approximately 2,000 women lived in the Greek system, sororities, at the University of Washington when I did in 2010 and 2011. Which is like, interesting. Okay, next note, page 234. The mother of the Okia is the main, the mother of the Okia of the main character played Mahjong. It's become a fad to popularize as well. It existed before popularization, kind of like the anxiety thing. All right, day 6, Thursday, 31 August 2023, pages 271 through 326, 56 pages. First note, page 280, Nita Sayori, an American Sayori Nita, claims the man, Dr. Crab, taking a woman's her virginity gave him no special privileges, and she stated her privilege was making, I think it's yen, 11,500 yen, Japanese money currency. Amount on page 279 with text supporting she was proud of her son and the privileges that entailed, such as getting adopted. So it's a pretty big deal for her, right? And came with a lot of privileges: money, a home, safe place to rest her head, stuff like that. As someone who has not lost my consensual virginity, I was raped. I do not know if her claim about men is true, nor if a woman gets any privileges if she chooses not to get paid, or the privilege kind of thing. Next note. I find it amazing the amount of care and culture surrounding the protection of a woman's virginity in Japan at the time period the book covers, which is like 1930s to 1950s. Nowadays in the United States of America, where I reside at the time of reading this section, some women say virginity is not even real. Right? Like, Japan cares and USA is like, tear every woman down, Okay, next note. Page 293. Hatsumomo makes a comment about lack of limbs being passed on between parent and offspring. This concept has received serious research by big-name researchers in the United States of America following the Hatsumomo comment, so 1930s, pre-World War II. Okay, next note, pages 297 to 298. The character Mother, as portrayed here, reminds me of my Grandma Connie, my dad's mom. Interestingly, Grandma Connie was born in the early 1930s and lived in Japan later in her life, so there's a bit of overlap with the story of my grandma. It's piecemealed together, not exactly at the same time. Okay, next note, page 326. Mameha had 3 fetuses removed / killed via abortion in her past. Next note, the 1930s geisha culture documented is Mizuwage, a woman losing her virginity, then Dana, marriage / companionship. And next note, an N in Japanese might be translated to English as soulmate. Okay. Next day, day 7, Friday, 1 September 2023. I read pages 327 through 356, which was 30 pages. My note is Notes, page 334, events reached December 1942. Next note, page 336, the main character's life enters mid-1943. Next note, page 349, month and year are August 1945. All right, next day, Day 8, Saturday to September 2023, page 357 through 407, read 51 pages. The notes are page 374 and 393, word choice of dull over boring. Page 395, fellow Nita Okiya Geisha Pumpkin is 30 years old. Next note, so after the end of World War II, Sayori finds out the chairman has feelings for Pumpkin. He might be her N or soulmate, but Sayori frames it as the chairman is hers, which would deny both Pumpkin and the chairman their soulmate if they are each other's soulmate, and Sayori gets the soulmate, so in this case gets this chairman. Okay, day 9, today, day 9, Sunday, 3 September 2023. I finished the book, that's today. Read pages 408 through 434, which is 27 pages. My note is on page 423. The season is autumn of 1952. Okay, that's it. Final notes. This marked the second time I read this book. Next note, I was approximately 30 years old to approximately 31 years of age and resided in the United States of America for the duration of this reading. Next note, I did not rate this book last time and I'm not giving it a rating this time either. Next note, so essentially this is a biography written like a memoir and partially framed as fiction. And then my last note is interesting that the global population on Earth in the 1930s, the time period of much of this book, was approximately 2 billion humans, whereas 3 September 2023, today, it is over 8 billion humans. Okay, that's eye-opening. I could feel the lack of population in this story. Okay, in conclusion, it's done. I finished my summer 2023 reading list. This is my last notes video for the books on that. I've finished everything. Autumn officially ends in the morning at like 2 a.m. on Saturday, 23 September 2023. So happy whenever you're reading this. And happy reading, whatever you're reading, whenever you're reading.